Warning, the following audio has a lot of cursing.
Alright, welcome to the Cerberus podcast. My name is Sam, also Cthulhu. With me today I have Kyle, also known as Zeus. We're both Cerberus Tactical Airsoft members. Today we want to talk about a lot of the items that you can get in Airsoft and just some of the aspects that can be considered maybe pointless. And you'll see what we mean when we go down this list. It's just a giant list of different items that I've looked at and I'm like, do you really need it? Honestly? So, first on my list is very basic that you see a lot of the younger players not doing, which is looking down your damn sights. Because of how Airsoft guns, get rid of the toy aspect, because you can adjust them to shoot relatively straight, do you still see value in a gun that only shoots maybe 150, 200 feet?
Yeah. The only time I don't use my sights is if I'm shooting so far away that I'm walking the BBs into them because it's easier if you're looking just up over your optic. Mm-hmm. You can see the BB a little better. Or if I'm messing with the hop-up and I'm trying to get and that's usually only for sighting in with either the iron sights or an optic, so I won't use them at first while I hold it up to my shoulder and I'm looking over it so it's in a straight line, and I adjust the hop up to a point at a known distance and start impacting. I get the BBs to impact roughly where I want them to, so say chest high at 250 feet.
Yeah.
Then I'll adjust my iron sights from there. Or the optic or whatever it is. So those are the only times I don't use my sights. Right. And I get the arguments where for the very reason that it's airsoft and it's not pinpoint accuracy.
Right.
But that's not an excuse to not aim.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you're dressing up like a Ranger, SF, or a Russian guy. Use your sights. They do.
I know. And even with like the pistols, even it's such a close range when you need to use a pistol. You can legitimately set your hop up to as far straight, and it'll go as far as it can. But you can actually use your actual, dot sights on your pistols, and actually, not necessarily. You can't use it, say, for training purposes for sight picture, but you definitely will actually get a generalization of where the BB's going to go. Because I hate it, and it always ends up leading into people who just end up blind firing.
Yeah,
is the biggest problem for not looking down your sights. That's why I'll play at a lot of indoor facilities where the younger players can go, and they don't know anything about it, and they just got off Call of Duty or Battlefield, and they're like, "Oh, cool! I can buy a gun that looks like a real one, but you can shoot people with it because they're plastic BBs." And then they go out there, and then all they're doing is doing the blind fire. The gun's like 3 feet above their face, just shooting over a barrier. They don't know what they're hitting, and they clearly don't realize the inherent danger that they're causing towards other players. You don't have to. How do I say this? You should be knowing where your BBs are going, because you end up accidentally shooting someone in the face. And then you're all like, well, that's part of playing the game, is there's that inherent danger. Well, if you weren't doing anything for your own personal responsibility to not hurt somebody, you are a dick, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it really gets drummed down to just your basic real firearms safety rules, and there's just to follow those four.
Yeah.
Follow those four for yourself just like you would in a real one, and you won't have any issues.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't taken either any pistol course or rifleman's course, there are 4 basic rules that every instructor teaches you when it comes to owning a firearm.
Yeah. It's always treat a gun. You treat all guns as if it's loaded.
Yeah.
And if just like a real one, you're walking around, you're at your buddy's house, his dad's out, he's got a gun on the table, he was cleaning it, he just got done cleaning, he's going to clean it, just got done from a range, and it's sitting there, whatever. Are you gonna pick it up and start pulling the trigger like, oh man, this is cool? You're gonna, I mean, it happens.
The mag doesn't have to be in the gun for it to fire.
Yeah, there could be a round in the chamber. I saw a really funny YouTube. I mean, I feel terrible for the guy, but I couldn't help it.
I like his phrase, terrible, funny YouTube.
Oh, horrifically hilarious. The guy's talking. He has a fishing reel attached to his shotgun. I'm assuming he's doing a lot of the night fishing.
Sure.
And that's the thing. It's like bow fishing. I mean, bow fishing. I mean, it is. Some states have different seasons, and that is a real thing.
Yeah.
It's very uncommon here in Michigan, but that is an actual thing. And he's talking about shotgun safety and how you never want to put your finger on the trigger because it might be loaded. But then also he starts talking about dry firing, and somehow he thinks dry firing is going to be bad for the gun. And he goes to pull the trigger to demonstrate. And you know what he didn't do? He didn't check it to see if it was unloaded. And he blew a nice big ol' 1-inch hole in his ceiling, and he got rained on by debris. And the look on his face was priceless. And I had to rewatch it a few times and just laugh and laugh and laugh because he failed to follow his own advice. The next one is never let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. So don't aim at anything you're not willing to destroy. If you are not willing to blow out your screen window or door or your buddy's eye or anything, don't point the gun at it.
Exactly.
Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. It's pretty self-explanatory. Don't put your finger on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. And be sure of what you're actually aiming at and what's beyond it. That definitely pertains to, the first part pertains to airsoft for sure. What am I saying? It pertains to both of them equally. Because, I mean, rifle or handgun even, they do penetrate. Could go through someone and into someone else that you're not wanting to shoot. Airsoft, not the most accurate things in the world. They can be made incredibly accurate. But they're still not rifle accurate. And especially at range. And if you're shooting at someone and you don't see that the landowner's cute daughter is taking pictures with her camera of all you guys to put up for his Facebook page, and you drill her in the mouth and knock one of her teeth out because you weren't paying attention, I mean, you should have known and should have either said, hey, yell at her, you need to move, or you move, or just don't shoot because there's probably a lot of other people to shoot at.
Yeah, like me. I was just playing airsoft the other day. I was doing some recording, little reffing, and I didn't know. I walked right into the path of a guy who's using, I think he was at 2.4 joules for his bolt action. He was using HPA Wolverine bolt, and I walked right into it. Unbeknownst to him, there's no way he could have stopped me from. He's so far away from the enemy. So, being aware of your situation and actually paying attention is the key. In his case, it is completely my fault for getting hit by that BB. I walked right into it, and I'm not paying attention to what actually is going on to the left and right of me. Instead, I'm so focused right at what's happening in front of me that I get shot. And I didn't blame him at all. I just let him know that, damn, that hurt. And he was like, yeah, man, but I mean, what can you do at that distance? Literally nothing.
Yeah.
So,
which is why it's very important to maintain situational awareness.
Next up on the list is, I wrote down specifically 3 to 9 magnification. Airsoft guns, I think the farthest shot that anybody's ever done was
500 or 600.
Like 545, 550 feet.
And it was staged. It was all staged, if I remember correctly. I don't think it was at a game.
No, it was a confirmed teching demo of what he did with his gun. And this was with a plastic BB. This was not with the ceramics, because ceramics don't count, because they have increased mass and polish is beyond perfect because it's made out of ceramic. But most traditional sniper rifles are only shooting a 300-foot shot consistently And that's about it. Even those guys, you can look up any YouTuber who does primary airsoft sniping, and even they're surprised they'll get a 300-foot shot. And they build their guns to do that. So 3 to 9 magnification is pretty much the max when it comes to how far away. Like, you can get 14. You can get higher than that even for just standard hunting scopes.
Oh, magnification goes way high. I mean, 50. I mean, it can go really high.
Yeah.
But
in the realm of airsoft, anything above 9 times is kind of overkill.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Even anything over 6. For me, anything over 6. I have a 1.5 to 4 power little scout scope on my Crytek. And that's perfect for me because that rifle I use more as a battle rifle rather than an assault rifle because it's got longer range. And due to it being a Crytek along with some of the other stuff I've done to it, it's pretty accurate at that long range.
Right.
Once I get that lapped PDI barrel and RHOP work done to it, I'll have the range of most snipers at a lot of events we go to.
Yeah.
So that 1.5 to 4 power optic will be beautiful. I'll just crank up the 4 power when we're actually scouting and we're trying to find, like if we're holding a position up and we have long lines of sight, that 4 power magnification is going to be perfect.
Yeah. There is value in having slight magnification because the human eye can't discriminate.
No.
Fucking images.
No.
It's all blurs together.
And movement's a big thing. If they're moving, they're really easy to see. But, again, airsoft, you're realistic. Yeah, cool. I can make a 350-foot shot with my sniper rifle. Good for you. How often are you going to be able to, 1, shoot someone that far away, and 2, that's 100 yards. Yeah. That's a hair over 100 yards. 300 feet. Yeah. 300 feet's 100 yards. 350 feet's what? I don't know. I'm not good at math. Say 313 yards? No, 312 yards.
I'll correct it on the page and we'll see how bad we are at math.
It'd be like 313 and some change. I haven't done math since high school because I got high enough on my ACT score. So, that's not that far. I mean, the Army uses irons. They used to do iron sights at 100 yards. The Marines do iron sights out to 500 yards. I mean, now they use ACOGs, but it used to be iron sights.
Yeah.
100 yards. It's not far.
No, not really.
Not 313 yards. What am I talking about? God, that's way too far. 113 yards is what or 103 yards. Maybe 113 yards. God, I'm retarded. Anyway, a hair over 100 yards.
Yeah.
You can edit that out of the video.
Oh, sure. I'm totally. This isn't going to be saved at all.
Oh yeah, no, that's getting saved. That's 3D weekend. It was amazing. My brain's not working anymore.
I know. It really was.
That's not far. It's not far at all. 100 yards. I mean, a person still looks pretty big at 100 yards.
Football field.
I mean, having that magnification is cool. Aim in, see the dude. You can see all the guy's pimples on his face and everything. It's like, oh yeah, look at that. He needs to pop that one. Woo! And you're like, sweet, I can see him. And then all of a sudden you have to turn to look at someone else. You bring the gun up. You have no idea where you're aiming because your magnification's so high you lost them because they're close.
Exactly.
And considering that you're not realistically going to be shooting at people further than 200 feet in airsoft, at least in a lot of the fields we play. Outdoors, definitely a little bit further depending on where you play. If it's really thick and wooded, or if there are a lot of buildings. But traditionally, you're not really shooting at people over 200 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have the ability to, but you're not really going to very often. So you don't need a lot of magnification.
Yeah. Next up I got is radios. What's the quality of radio that you think is acceptable? We have variable when it comes to people we run into, Motorola's, and then people who buy Baofangs.
The disposable radio of the radio world.
Yeah. Do you think that anybody has justification for buying a military grade radio that can actually have how long is that antenna?
The military grade long whip antenna? I forget how long it is.
It's like
I use one. And how often do you think I actually undo the whole damn thing?
Right.
Never. You just roll it up, So it's like that, and you use electrical tape and you tape it together, and you just duck it into your vest and you're done.
Exactly. Do you think anybody has a legitimate reason for having one of those in airsoft?
An actual legitimate reason? No.
No.
Do you think? But I think someone can justify it to themselves for the same, and it's the same people that justify buying Cry or buying Ops Core or Team Wendy helmets for airsoft and stuff like that. They want the real deal, full experience. I want to wear real plates and a real helmet and real radio, and let's go all hooah. And I mean, good for you. You have that expendable currency. Go for it. Fine. And if you got the money to spend on it, I mean, even if I had the money, I wouldn't. But my priorities are not the same as yours. So be my guest. Go ahead. I'm not going to rag on you for doing it. I personally wouldn't. For me, it's a waste of money. Most of us use the Motorola Talkabouts. I forget, you can throw the model.
They're the 350R model.
Yes. And they're yellow, but they're in a radio pouch.
Yeah,
so who's going to see it? Two, they float. So if you drop it in the water, just reach out and grab it. It's floating. It can connect to, emergency weather stations. So if there is actually a weather advisory, you can tune in and see if anything's happening. We had no issues with comms. The only issue we had with comms was when we were at home, and we were probably a good half mile away from each other.
Yeah,
through really thick woods. There was that massive concrete jungle in between us.
Yep.
And I think you were a little below us on a hill, like standing next to a giant metal helicopter. So that's not bad. I mean,
amongst other people's frequencies too.
Yes, and there were a lot of other frequencies that were very close to ours. So all of that added up. And I mean, this woods was thick. If any of you have ever been to MUTC down in Indiana, you know how thick it is. I mean, a tank could literally point and aim its turret at where you were, and that shell would not get to you. I mean, it's so thick in there. And it's just a half mile of it, plus all the concrete in between us, and it's not just small little mounds of concrete. I mean, these concrete hills are
straight rubble,
20 feet high.
Yeah.
And it's not small. And barely, but we were able to communicate.
Yeah.
It got a little spotty once I started getting near some buildings, but the Baofangs couldn't reach you, and you couldn't reach the Baofangs. Plus, it's FRS and one other frequency, or
GMRS.
GMRS. Those are the only two that you can use if you decide to get a Baofeng or any of those other types of actually quote-unquote real radios, because it's a felony.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, one of our friends plugged his Baofeng and he was kind of messing with like a few of the settings, and all of a sudden on the radio he hears, all of a sudden he's on the Kentwood Police Department's, radio frequency by accident. And he hears, and all of a sudden one of the people in the net goes, "Intruder on the net." And he goes, fucking pulls his battery out and takes the antenna off. And he's, you don't fuck with that. If you don't have your ham radio license, if you have your ham radio license, you can do it. That's fine. Because now you have your license. You can go in and you can do this stuff. And it's easy.
Yeah.
Just go do it.
When you have the ham, it's illegal to use it. It's illegal to use it, but it's legal to dial in.
No, you can use it. Ham radio users are the only like civilians that are allowed to use it.
Even on the government channels?
Yes. Well, I mean, you can't like just tune in to like the army frequencies and shit, because you'll get in huge trouble for listening into army radio frequencies. But you can't anyway, because they're scrambled and they're always changing frequencies and all that kind of good stuff. There's a reason those batteries last like 3 minutes. They're very overpowered and the batteries are very underpowered.
Right.
But you can, I mean, what do you think ham radio frequencies are when you got the people with the big radio stations in their basement? My dad's got one.
I meant the act of, not...
it's total, I mean, because they're used in an emergency.
Huh.
The ham radio license, it didn't start as such, but now it's an emergency contingency. It's part of the contingency plans for the U.S. government.
Yeah, so I've looked up the frequency settings for all the government frequencies that are legitimate. They don't change. They're just straightforward frequencies.
Yeah.
And it's public knowledge. You can look them up to make sure you don't accidentally hit those buttons on your Baofangs, because if you don't know what you're doing, which most people who own a Baofeng don't know how to use a damn Baofeng.
No, they don't.
Why am I, the Motorola user, the one guy on the team who knows how to program a fucking Baofeng? Drives me insane every up.
I remember a few years ago I was looking at radios. Everybody had a Baofeng. Everybody and the grandparents had a Baofeng for airsoft. And I asked my dad. My dad built a radio when he was like 10.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a ham radio operator for decades. My dad still is. I mean, he's been in the community his entire life. That and astronomy is just his thing. And I asked him about it. I asked him about Baofengs. He literally laughed in my face and said, "Don't you ever buy one of those disposable radios." Now, that's regarding their cheapness. They do have some nice ones, but you're going to be shelling out 100, 150, 200 plus.
Yeah,
and those are actually not bad.
We're talking about the $60 Chinese clones that.
Yeah, they're really cheap, low-end models. At that point, spend $60, buy 2 Motorola's, and you'll be good because it'll probably last longer, and the quality will be just as fine. Plus, it floats. I mean, they work great for us, and it's what 22 channels, or 22 channels plus how many sub channels?
Subnet goes to 24, I think.
Yeah. So plenty of channels,
and even then, that's excessive because you're never going to be at an op where you need that many subnets anyway. No. And half the time, it's easier just to run subnet 0 and just have the straight frequency, not even worry about the subnet.
Yeah. So there's my little rant about Baofengs. I don't like them. I think they're useless for airsoft. I think there's no need for them, and it's just going to get people in trouble because people have gotten in trouble before, and it is an actual felony to be running on non-FRS and then GMRS frequencies or whatever that is.
Yeah, we're gonna do a podcast video about radios and have all that info available so we can chat about it. With radios, how do your feelings about external comms when it comes to PTTs, earpiece, throat mics? What's your personal preference? For your ideal setup, what's your personal preference?
I like throat mics. It's hard to find one that works all the time. I have 2 of them, and one of them was really cheap. I wasn't really expecting it to work well. The other one was like $50, $60. And I don't know if it wouldn't work, and I don't know if that's because the radios we were using were kind of some of the cheaper, like $20 ones, or what. I kind of want to try it again now that we all have more stable comms. I mean, I bought this 5 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. But I like those. They're out of the way. There's no mic coming out anywhere. It uses the vibration from your throat to work. Yeah. The issue with those is if it's not centered right, it can be very hard to hear you on the other end.
Right.
Josh uses one, and it can be hard to hear him sometimes if it's not really centered right. I have a very basic, boring, just mic, just a normal, traditional microphone mic, where I have it attached to the left side of my vest because I'm right-handed, so my rifle's always up here. Mm-hmm. So the mic's down here on my left, so I can still have my rifle up and my pistol up. I just reach over with my left arm, click it, and I just talk right into the microphone. And you can hear me clear as day, and I can hear you clear as day because the microphone's right by my head, and the speaker's built into it, so I can hear you coming. The downside, not the most stealthy option in the world, because as soon as someone comes over the radio, you hear it come right up, and it's right there next to your head, and everybody around you can hear it. So that can cause some issues, but traditionally the play style we use is more aggressive, so they usually know where we are anyway. Plus, the only people I'm usually on the radio with is, because I'm usually in a big squad leader, is higher. And the only time I really talk to higher is when they're letting me know that we have something they want us to do, and then when I let them know that we've done it, or hey, we need help, or this kind of thing. So not that often. The other time I'm on a radio is talking to the rest of my squad if we've had to split up over a larger area, at which point it actually works really well to carry a second radio. And if you carry a second radio set to your squad frequency, if your squad leader have 2 radios, one to your higher and the one to your squad. Or whatever one you use more, have it hooked up to your mic.
Yeah.
Because in that way you can actually communicate with your squad or your team far more effectively. So that's what I use. I know most other people on our team use the earplug ones with the push to talk. And I'm actually looking at picking up one of the Code Red ones. I mean, it's cheap. I mean, it's nothing like, a nice Peltor or anything, like nothing nicer Peltor. Or Contact, I think, or whatever.
Yep,
it's Contact's like the cheaper version.
Yep.
Nothing like that because I don't care enough.
Mhm.
I mean, the one I have works and it's waterproof. So if this $30 one goes out, whatever, I have this other one that'll work, and I'll just cover it with my hand if we need to, because I've done that before too, and it works. You can't hear a thing out of it. So that's my personal preference.
Yeah, see, I actually have that Code Red, the PTT, and then I just use a cheapo brand of the earpiece, and it works just great. I mean, maybe the Code Red one works better. Maybe the speaker that's inside the tube actually amplifies a little better, but it works. And that Code Red is durable as hell. Like, I think I've ruined the original one that we got. Well, that was, we're not going to name any names, but somehow a room got set on fire, and when the fire system put out the fire, it also soaked all of our gear. And, might have lost my PTT that night. But I got a Code Red one now, and it works really good. So, and also make sure, just a quick tip, make sure you know single pin versus dual pin and get the right model that correlates with your Code Red if you go get a Code Red. They have a list of everything that's compatible. Just make sure to match it up so you don't get the wrong product. Next up on the list for whether or not it's pointless in Airsoft is a map and possibly a compass. What is your feelings for maps in Airsoft? Do you think that we have had AOs personally big enough to require a map? And how do you feel that Airsoft is utilizing them on the battlefield? Do you think they're just a quirk, or do you think we've actually been using them properly? I mean, you have more experience, legitimate experience with maps.
While, jokes about being lost in a land nav site aside, Lion Claws, say what we will about them.
Mm-hmm.
They have their maps down. I mean, their maps were very good. They had buildings labeled, they had grids, they had multiple maps for the same area, just depending on what kind of thing you were trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Third Coast Airsoft, you guys had a much better playing experience with Third Coast than you did with Lion Claws. However, the map situation was half of what it was with Lion Claws. The grids were useless because they were so big. They didn't scale stuff down. They didn't even create it'd be really easy to just create your own grids.
Yeah.
For it. And then just label them. It could literally just be A, B, C, D, F, all the way down to Z, and then have 1, 2, 3 all the way down to 26. And just that's your grids, because it doesn't matter for real life, because we're not calling anything in real life. It's for Airsoft.
Yeah.
Which I know is actually something we talked about doing, and creating our own grid and messaging them and asking if they would like to either adopt it or use it, or just say, hey, this is kind of something we created. Don't know if you want to nail this out to everyone else, so everyone's on the same page, because it works.
Yeah, because I've created grids for us before.
Yes, it's not hard. Maps are incredibly useful, especially for, one, navigating, and two, if you're trying to get from point A to point B, or if you know, hey, we got friendlies in this building, this building, and this building, we got enemies in this building, this building, we want to get to that building, just pull out your map and start doodling on it. Like, all right, hey, we got guys here, 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 here. We need to go here. And you can literally just draw little arrows like, hey, this is how we're going to get to here. If we can't go this route, we're going to go this way. Mm-hmm. And you can actually literally plan just like you would in real life. Compasses, yeah, they can be very useful, especially if you're not used to the layout of the map. Because all you have to do is figure out what north is, lay out the map in the direction of north, and then draw a big-ass north arrow on the map. And then you're good for the rest of the event. Because you can go, hey, it's the east of this building. So you pull up the map, figure out where, all you have to do is look at the map, okay, hey, north is this way, it's to the east. So look at that building, it's to the east of that building. Okay, it's right there. Okay, we're over here, so that's okay. You just figure out where you are from there. So they are useful, and you can get the little pin-on ones for like $5, not even. Those are probably even cheaper.
Yeah.
So they're useful, especially if you're not familiar with the map, or if you really want to go that route, you
can. Next up we got is full face protection. Do you think only kids need full face protection, or do you think there is a need for it for people who are, I don't think the right term is consenting adults, but I mean, it's technically 18-year-olds who are agreeing to play this sport at a milsim, and they're not minors. Anyway, whatever. Full face protection. Do you think there's only a minimum requirement when it comes to that? Is it really just kids that are under the age of 18? Or do you think that it can extend more than that for any situation?
Legally, yeah, I like that they do that. But as far as being required to wear them for anything else or for anyone else, I don't think they should make that a requirement. I like that it's an option because I don't like wearing them. However, if it's mostly indoor, you should wear one.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna get hit in the face? Probably not. If you do, is it worth losing your teeth? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of comes down to the place you're playing. Like outdoors, yeah, you got people shooting higher FPS, but I never wear a face mask outdoors. I just don't. I hate wearing them. The odds of getting hit in the face are so small. It's not even worth it. But then there are other people that swear by it. I mean, it kind of comes down to the individual player. Really. So indoor, like I wore mine at the school that we played in because it's so close. But outdoor,
yeah, no, I pretty much never wear.
I'll probably bring mine to Third Coast. I'm bringing it to Third Coast. I'll probably pack it in my assault pack so that if I decide to, if we start doing a lot of building stuff, I'll just throw it on.
Yeah, if you're highly mobile, you're gonna run into some close quarters stuff, especially because if it's overgrown again with the grasses and stuff that are there, you can walk up on somebody and not even realize they're there, just a few feet away from you. Mm-hmm. What do you say for ear protection? Not just the gameplay, but also some of the safe, quote unquote, safe pyrotechnics. Say thunderbees, just decibel levels in general that could potentially harm your ears. I mean, when we did Third Coast Stroke and Dagger last year, which I hope they bring it back again this year, they were using those bird cannons, the propane-fed sound devices. They shoot off like 120 decibels, if not louder, just to scare birds into the air. So when hunters go to, bird hunting, they fly in the air and they can shoot off. So what do you think about when it comes to ear protection? Do you think any milsim should require ear protection if they have that stuff? Because I mean, I haven't used it and I have not experienced any hearing loss, even being in front of that bird gun thing, or even when that Mach 50 cal was right by us. Hearing that propane tank go off really didn't hurt me, but I'm also not a specialist on ears, so I don't know what your experience in terms of policy, military-wise, has been the advice that they're like, yeah, you probably should because it'll hurt. I don't know.
Well, okay, so in the military, when we run blanks, they don't require it. Blanks, it's kind of optional. Nobody uses blank. Nobody uses ear protection. We use blanks.
Oh, really?
Only the 240 gunners will, because those 7.62 blanks are about as loud as a 5.56 non-blank. I mean, they're loud. And the 50 cals are, I mean, it doesn't sound like a blank. It sounds like someone shooting a 308 next to your head. I mean, they're really loud. But you pick up an AR-15 and throw blanks in it, throw a blank firing adapter on the front of it and start pulling the trigger. It's fine. It's like shooting a 22. If not even a little less. Noise-wise, they're very quiet. Ear protection's required firing live. So airsoft, if they have a lot of blank fire going on with some higher caliber stuff, and your job is to be around that, and that's part of your description when they ask you, hey, for this, say, and it's usually the only people that are doing that are people that are either hosting the event or assisting the hosts. So then they're like, hey, you're going to be near this. We would recommend bringing your protection. Otherwise, no. I don't see why they would ever feel the need to require it. I think to me, that's silly that they would ever have to require that. I don't see that happening. I wouldn't wear it, but my ears are really shitty anyway. So.
Yeah. Next, we've beaten this one to the death before, but again, just to be thorough and reiterate, helmets. Think brain buckets are a necessity in airsoft? You think it's highly active enough that you could either one, get hurt by conducting the sport, or two, just in general, hurting yourself by slips, falls, crashing into shit?
Oh yeah, you can get hurt very easily. But being required, mm, I don't like wearing them. I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna start mostly so I can be one of those cool guys with the GoPro.
He's slowly converting.
I am. It's one of those one of us moments. I don't think they should be required necessarily. I think most of it's going to come down to the type of venue. I think Wilson must requires them, don't they? If you're on the NATO team.
Yeah, but like we've said before, I think that's more of
it's kit related.
It's more kit and uniform regulation than it is an actual safety.
And that's why I believe it really depends on the venue. Ultimately. I mean, I'm glad I'm not forced to wear one because I don't like wearing them, especially the airsoft ones.
Mm-hmm.
But they do offer a minor form of protection, so if you do fall, you got something better than just hitting your head. And if you decide to go with one of the fast style or one of the para jumper, base jumper ones, then they breathe pretty well. So.
Next we got knee pads and elbow pads. Do you feel a lot of the newer combat uniforms are taking a note from Cry Precision and are doing integrated pads, if not available sections where you can place knee pads and elbow pads. Do you feel that there's a specific situation where you would advise having elbow pads and knee pads, say AO wise, or maybe even playstyle wise? You think they could be required, or is it just pointless because it's just airsoft?
I like wearing knee pads because they protect my knees. I like protecting my knees. However, I don't really think they should be required.
Mm-hmm.
I hate elbow pads. They're
Yeah.
so uncomfortable. Unless I'm wearing one of those cool, fancy Gen 3 assault shirts that has them built in, you won't see me wearing elbow pads.
Mm.
If you're laying on concrete, you're probably not going to be laying there long enough for your elbows to hurt. And if you are, switch out with one of your buddies and just rotate in and out. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Next up is an interesting topic when it comes on boots. Now, for all of our team, we all agree you're definitely not going to want to play in running tennis shoes or any of that dumb stuff. But here's the interesting debate. Do you think it is okay for people to say, they're good boots. Salomon boots are good boots. But you know what I'm saying when it's a hiking boot versus a full-on, like for me, Belleville military-style boot that's been designed for that task of being outdoors and aggressive, highly functioning durability.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that airsoft is not strenuous enough to require military boots?
Military specific? No. The way I look at it is, if you have ankle support, you're fine.
Okay.
Because that's one of the biggest reasons why the Army makes us wear such big ass boots, and then Rangers and Special Forces get to wear the cooler, both literally and figuratively cooler stuff is for ankle support. And there are other safety reasons, but it's largely ankle support because your ankles are quite fragile.
Mm-hmm.
And if you roll it when you're wearing a lot of stuff, pop goes the weasel. You don't want that. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what you wear as long as it's supportive of your ankles. So anything like hiking shoes, those would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Solomons and Merrills are so popular, is because while you can find some tennis shoe style ones, most of what they offer are very supportive of the ankles. And that's what's most important. So whether you're wearing some really cool high speed, Danners like what I have, or some of the Rocky SV2s, or really cool, was it the Merrill Moabs or the Solomon Moabs or whatever they are. Good on you. If you want to wear some $50, $60 pair of hiking shoes that cover your ankles and are actually supportive, like a good way to tell if the shoes you're wearing are actually supportive of your ankle, put them on, tighten them up tight like you would, and then cant your feet off to both sides. So you're trying to rest on the outside sides of your feet, and see if you can support your weight without hurting. If you can support your weight, and if it can support your weight and it doesn't hurt, it's supportive. That's what you want.
Next up is sidearms. Like a lot of the military, well, actually all military requires some form of sidearm, don't they? No?
No, standard infantry does not get sidearms.
I mean, before the switch over to the 320.
Even before them.
They weren't required M9s at all times. Just when they were on base, then they didn't want to have to carry their M4s. They were supposed to carry a pistol on them. No?
Nope. I don't even typically get a pistol. I have not had to qualify with the pistol. And I've been in for 3 years.
Interesting.
The medics and the CO, at least in the National Guard, are the ones that are required to, because that's what the medics carry. They don't run around with M4s. They need to be light.
Right.
So they carry their silly little M9s. So glad we're getting rid of. And then the CO gets his. And then above him, everyone gets it as well. I think technically I'm supposed to get one. So if we get deployed, I'm 95% sure that I would get issued one. A handgun. But, I'd like to have one. So back to airsoft.
So we don't actually have something to relate it back to for the sake of show, because you're not even required in general to be carrying around
standard infantry. No, I really wish that we did. I really do, because it's a handgun in combat. It's one of those things you're really gonna wish you had it when you don't have it, because you're not gonna need it until you don't have it. They don't weigh much. They don't take up hardly any space. I just wish they issued them to us. It's not like they don't have enough of them. They do. I just wish they would issue them to us. And then there's a reason, I believe Rangers get to play with them. But like Special Forces, they all do handguns, and they all do long guns, like carbines.
Yeah,
I guess you say not long guns. They do carbines. Because they're gonna want it when they need it, and if they don't have it, they're gonna need it. Are you going to use it all the time? No. Do I use my airsoft pistol all the time? Pretty rarely. Like those weekend events we go do, I probably use it once, maybe. But I'm sure as shit glad I have it when I use it. So it's one of those things. It's like an insurance policy. Great to have when you need it, but hopefully you don't need it very often.
Okay. Do you also agree? Do you agree that when there's an engagement limit, that pistols are required?
Yeah, I think it should be for like snipers and support gunners for sure. Because the marksman rifles, those guys, the FPS fluctuates so much between the same as a rifleman or just slightly above the same realm as the machine guns. So their engagement limit's not that much further than a rifleman. So they can stay engaged for much longer. But a machine gun, most events don't allow machine guns to be used indoor, which is fine with me. So unless you have like an RPK or the Stoner or the MG36 or whatever the rest of them are that are select fire, unless you have one that's select fire, you're going to want a sidearm. Because otherwise you're literally just sitting there doing nothing while everyone else is trying to defend the place. You're just sitting there like, good job guys, keep going. They're a cheerleader at that point.
Exactly.
So I do believe, I don't think they should be required, but I think that it should be a requirement on a personal level. that if that's the role you're running, I think you need to get one. Otherwise, you're worthless indoors or when they get close.
Okay. For this is just an airsoft perspective. Do you think with how we've been doing with better gear, better guns, that Springer guns still have a purpose? Like maybe down to say pistols. Do you think Springer pistols still have value? Because I know the Springer ARs are like they feel cheap and they're stupid, kind of. But I don't know. Every now and again, I've carried around a Springer pistol just as something.
They're fun. I think it's definitely more of a personal preference. If you want to have fun, I know some people actually stick them in their belt and tuck them in the back of their belt as kind of a hostage defense gun. So you get taken as a hostage if that's a thing at some of the events you go to. They don't pat you down properly. You still have that hidden, so you can kind of defend yourself, or you can try to kill a few of them. So that's kind of cool. I don't do that, but I mean, it's kind of a neat idea, and it's fun. It's fun watching the videos of people doing that, but I wouldn't do it.
Next is gloves.
Yes. Yes. Wear gloves. I don't think they should be required, but I'm kind of surprised they're not required at a lot of events. Wear gloves. It's common sense. Wear gloves.
Yeah, there's
almost
every woods has some form of pricker bush.
Prickers, poison ivies, animals, random metal that's out in the woods that was left over from who knows years ago or whatever.
Barbed wire from an old farm.
No idea what's out there. Broken glass. Yeah. Wear gloves.
Now, this one's a little more interesting. For airsoft, do you think it can seem pointless to actually use uniforms at a certain level? Maybe not milsim because it's very specific niche and clearly trying to replicate real world situations in a very dumbed down combat style. But when it comes to recreational games, do you think that uniforms should still be required to play those? Or do you think that rec games should still be able to be silly, fun, larger versions of backyard games you played as a kid?
Silly and fun.
You think?
Yeah, I do. Because you can definitely get, you can set up local events, like local mini milsim events or more organized events. But it's fun to have everyone come out, dress as you are kind of thing. People show up with lightsabers or little Nerf swords. And, some people will just wear jeans and a t-shirt. Some people will come in wearing shorts and a tank top. Some people come in all decked out like our buddy Tucker. I mean, it's fun, and you see a little bit of everything, and that's part of what makes them so fun, because you have a bunch of people who care about the sport on different levels, all coming together and enjoying the same thing.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Like the one we just went to. I think we were one of the more kitted up groups.
Yeah,
and that's perfectly fine. I don't feel that I didn't feel that I was better than most of the people. Just like I don't think they felt that they were better than us.
Yeah,
we were all there having a good time. We all worked together. Everyone actually cared about their team, and they wanted to beat the other team. When the game was done, everyone converged in the middle and started bullshitting and talking and laughing and walking up. You're like, yeah, I almost had you, or yeah, I got you. And it's fun, and that's what the whole thing's about. Exactly. And that's why I like rec games. Unfortunately, you don't see that as much as some of the milsims, as I feel like you should. At the end of, if you don't get together with either the rest of your team or the entire group at the end of it, and like, yeah, it was awesome that time we were defending. You guys rolled in and. You guys swept through us. It was awesome. Good job. And shaking hands, you pat people in the back. If you're not doing that at the end of it, why'd you go? I mean, you went to have fun. You didn't go to actually kill people. That's what the recruiters are for. Go to the recruiters if that's what you want to do. Don't go to airsoft. Yeah. Go to airsoft to have fun. Yeah, if you're not having fun, then why are you there?
You're not going to a milsim because it's supposed to be this crazy sport competition. If there are airsoft sport competitions, you can do the whole versus aggressive thing there, because there's actually money on the line. There's actually rewards on the line. For milsim, even though it's more serious and recreational, it's designed to give you an enhanced experience. Oh, and on a note of that, we have a friend. He owns 2 Barretts, and he wears a leather jacket and jeans.
Yeah, he goes denim and leather, and has the AEG 107 and the
Springer.
Bullpup Springer 99.
Thing. I'll put links because I know which guns. I just can't think off the top of my head.
It's the 99.
And that's how he prefers to run. He doesn't usually run a lot of straightforward camo and gear.
The vest he uses is probably 8 years old.
Yeah, he made a leather holster for his P90 to sling on his
which
back.
he carried on his back when he's carrying one of the Barretts. Yes, he does not give any shits.
No,
and that's his play style, and it works well for him when he's not sleeping behind his sniper rifle. What a dick!
I know.
He's gotten me killed a few times over that. Yeah, I mean that's about all there is to that uniform. Just wear what you want. You don't wanna look all super cool Ranger Death Group, then don't.
Yeah.
Roll in with gym shorts and a t-shirt and a battle belt. I mean, you're gonna have fun either way. You're gonna probably hurt a little more if you're wearing gym shorts and a tank top and a battle belt. But I mean, if that's what you're comfortable wearing, then wear what you're comfortable wearing. There's a reason I don't dress up in my camo stuff that we use for milsims at local events. I roll contractor setup. I have original Gen Woolrich pants that I wear that are really comfortable. They breathe really well. I wear those, and I usually wear a t-shirt.
Yeah. No, I mean, when me and Tucker did Barbosa, we ran on Tan Team they said you could do a contractor setup. So you make sure you're not wearing camo, but make sure you have just, it better be blue jeans and not using actual tack pants. Actual, like, BDU pants or ACUs or M81 multicam. That's what they were asking for you. Make sure you actually are dressed in pretty standard clothes. Me, I fudged it a little and I used my LBX pants because they're comfortable as hell. But we did that, and we had all of our regular tag gear on, and we had a good time, and nobody thought any less of us. I mean, mainly because we were the most active. I mean, even with me doing all my spot checking, I was relaying comms for everybody. Because there was really no comm structure, because there was only 3 radios for our whole team, and yours was freaking dead. Carry some extra damn batteries. When we were at yesterday at that field, he pulled up his radio and he was asking about it. And before he started asking me whether or not I had mine, I was like, "Is your radio fucking dead right now?" Because I'm about to castrate you. Next, I have glow sticks, or chem lights, is the military version of a glow stick. Do you think there's any purpose for having them on you?
I carry them just because they're useful. For anything. Nighttime. Say someone gets injured, and you don't want to carry them out. Start popping chem lights everywhere. Start waving them around, lay them on the ground, start throwing them. It gets attention pretty quick. They stand out at night. You get hit. Like a red chem light. Pretty easy to see that at night, so it's pretty obvious. Hey, that he wants us to know he's there. He's probably dead, and it's red. So shoot that guy. And then as kind of a segue into the next topic, the infrared, the infrared chem lights. If you guys are playing airsoft at night and you have night vision goggles or optics, and you are trying to tag certain buildings, use the IR chem lights because they work really well. They almost look blue through a night vision, so they stand out really well. So stick it to a building, throw it underneath the door, under a car for later or something. That kind of stuff. They work out really well.
Yeah, that next segueing in is having NVGs. Do you feel that in airsoft NVGs are a little excessive? I mean, we've had debates back and forth because you can get for example, Tucker, he's using a hunting version of nods that you can mount to a helmet versus true nods that are military grade that are thousands of dollars. Do you think that airsoft it's excessive to be using infrared night vision goggles?
Nah, it depends on the person. It goes back to justification. I could not justify buying, at least now, I could not justify buying night vision for airsoft. I don't play at night that often, nor am I really that interested in using 350 of my hard-earned dollars on a night vision setup that I'll use a couple times a year. And I don't coyote hunt, so I'm not going to be buying any at night. Or I'm not going to be shooting anything at night, so I would have very little use for one, though I would not. Other people have great use for them. And Tucker bought it. He has the expendable income. Good on him. He's looking at buying another one, actually. Looking at spending double what he paid for these to get a nicer, more robust pair. And if he does, I will probably ask to use the cheaper pair he has if he doesn't sell them, because they are useful.
Yeah.
But that's because he'll have two sets. I wouldn't use it enough to justify buying one, but if it's available, of course I would use one.
Yeah.
I think it really depends on the person. They can be very useful for night ops. I just don't think they're necessary. Well, completely necessary. They definitely have their use.
Well, they have their use.
Like anything else, like the tracer suppressors and the BBs. That's cool. Kind of a neat concept. Really expensive, but it's really neat.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get one, but it's really cool to see people use them, and I'd like to use one at some point, but I'm not going to spend $100 plus on a good tracer unit and then buy expensive ass BBs that are traditional. I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it, but I'd be surprised if they're as high quality as some of the others of similar weight, because they spend more time making sure they're glow in the dark and not, perfectly smooth. And
yeah, no, the heavier weight ones. Like, say, for example, I think G&G has their tracer BBs because they also make their own tracer unit. Those are good. But they also have struggle getting materials that glow in the dark at heavier weights.
Yeah.
So if an event required tracer BBs for all guns at night games, it's going to be really hard for a bolt-action sniper rifle.
And usually most people don't run bolties at night.
I know I ran into one guy who did that for a night op mission. And, he was sadly the only guy with optics, but thank God he had them.
It is useful.
Yeah,
it is useful.
And it was great too, because when you're the only guy on the team that has them, and the enemy has a lot of them, you just follow their infrared floodlights, and you know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
So he got at least 50 shot. He got 50 targets before they finally figured out where he was on one of the buildings. It's a pretty sweet story.
Yeah.
Next up is more of a novelty, in my opinion, would be bolt cutters. I know when you go to some Milsim West games, and I think American Milsim, they do have situations where they'll lock a door with bolt cutters intentionally, so for the experience of cutting off a lock and opening the door. Do you think that's more of just a novelty, or do you think has some sort of training purpose?
I don't think they're useful. I don't think they're useful.
You don't think there's really a point to enhance the experience by cutting off locks?
No,
or a chain link fence.
Well, most places that's frowned upon anyway.
Right.
Which, I don't know, if you're actually using airsoft as a training tool and you're at an actual event, that's like Centurion Airsoft.
Yeah.
That is a facility that I could see. Not facility. That's a company I could see saying, "Hey, bring bolt cutters. We're going to teach you how to breach stuff. We're going to teach you how to break into stuff. Bring them, because that's useful. Because it's actually a training tool. You're not just slashing away at stuff for the fun of it. You're actually learning something."
Exactly. Next up, zip ties. And this also links into those zip cuffs. Do you think that they have purpose in airsoft? Do you think that we all agree that electrical tape on your kit is actually very useful. But do you think zip ties are one? Do you think zip cuffs are
Zip cuffs are fun. They have
Mm.
they have multiple uses, both in and out of your stuff. If you catch my drift. But I don't know. I mean, if you really want to go all out and zip cuff someone that you capture, be my guess. I mean, don't go all out and cinch them down so it's actually tight. But at the same time, you could just go through like, hey, simulate zip cuffs. Keep your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
And then you can actually grab onto their hand or grab onto their collar or something. Just make sure you tell them, hey, simulate zip cuffs so that they know. And then everyone's on the same page and you're fine.
Mm.
So I don't think that they're that necessary.
I mean, I just think about it. So there's a famous video of, I want to say American Milsim, maybe, where they actually did zip cuff one of their volunteers for the event who played a high value target. And the minute they started walking a certain direction, one of the guys carrying one arm tripped and yanked the high value target and the other dude down to the ground, and the high value target bashed his face into the ground. And this is like a gravel road.
Ouch.
Yeah, he was bleeding like crazy. And now he wears a helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, like you say, simulate the zip cuffs. I don't think any scenario needs that sort of realism, purely because if your intent is to have an experience where it's exactly perfect, you already have made enough compromises for airsoft that it's not an exact experience that you're getting. I mean, first of all, I doubt you're wearing real plates.
Yeah.
I doubt a lot of things that you're doing right now are, like you've said, a lot of guys are compromising using hiking boots that are maybe 6-inch, and they probably should be actually using an 8-inch boot. And it's that low stress. So I think you should compromise on the zip cuffs, leave them at home, or just don't order them. Don't bring them to the field, please. I've seen dudes at rec games with zip cuffs.
Have you really?
And I've kind of laughed. Like, why do you have that extra crap on your gear?
I mean, it's kind of fun and it looks kind of cool, but I mean, I got a pair that I just acquired over the past couple of years. I mean, it's just, but I'm around them. It's easy. I don't have to buy them.
Right.
I might throw them on my kit for Third Coast just because.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Am I going to use them? No.
Oh, that would be kind of funny. Just like,
it would be.
Oh, don't worry, I'm part of staff, as you're zip cuffing, dude.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we brought the high value target. Where did you get the zip cuffs?
Don't question my methods.
Next on the list is an IFAC. Do you think a regular airsoft player, and this is directed towards the Milsim, an actual Milsim airsoft player needs an actual IFAC? An actual safety device, so when you actually have injuries, you can address it, or do you think you should be leaving that to actual medical professionals? Because some people get actual response training and know how to use their stuff and whatever, but do you feel that because the majority of people who don't have response training, it's just extra gear, and that's why it's pointless?
No, because that's first aid related. And I think everybody should have something first aid related. Whether you know, I mean, don't be running around with like gauze and scissors, because you're going to start trying to do things that you don't actually know how to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is useful stuff to have. If you want to have one on it, be my guest. I usually take mine with me. I used to have it on my kit just because that's when we're doing a lot of Milsim stuff. I subsequently took it off just because I haven't been doing that lately. But I mean, I think they're useful, and I take it with me just in case there's an accident.
Next up, we'll head back to the guns. Laser sights. Do you think they actually have purpose and function? Or do you think that because it's the Airsoft brand, that they're not quality enough to function well?
They have their uses. They're great for pointing out locations. So, especially the greens. If you can get your hands, I think it's the FMA brand PEC unit, for lasers. It's like $70-$80 for their good one. And it's incredibly bright. and it's pretty adjustable. And it's great for pointing out locations or targets. If you're trying to say, hey, we got a dude over there by that tree. You see what I'm talking about? No, it's the one over here. You still see, no, I don't see it. Okay, hold on. You pull it up and you shine that laser. I'm talking. See my laser? Yeah, follow it. And you walk up and like, oh yeah, that over there. And then you can call it up. Super useful. As far as accuracy, and that's what the sights are for. I mean, and like in the Army, the biggest thing we use our PEC units for is nighttime shooting. Because you don't aim at night. You use the laser to aim at night. I mean, you can't aim through your sights with the night vision goggle on. Yeah, the brightness can go down on the red dots enough to use it, but you have a tube sticking out about 6-7 inches out in front of your face, and you'd have to hold your rifle pretty awkwardly to get those tubes in line, and at that point, you've already been shot. So, they train you to shoulder the rifle. I mean, and the PEC units are already sighted. You sight the PEC units in Cerberus. You shoulder the rifle, and you look over your optic, and you're using your night vision to look for the laser. You just point the laser, whatever you're trying to shoot, boom, 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 and that's how you shoot. So for airsoft, some people use them because they think it's cool. Good for them. I like it just for the laser, just for literally the designation purpose of it. It's very easy to point things out. People, objects, buildings, trees, whatever. Next bounding position, anything. They're super useful.
Hunter had a really good experience with that during the tier 1 for that broken dagger, where he was using his to as a designated marksman with his 417 to point out targets on roofs. So other guys who had volume of fire could know where to aim, and then his fellow teammates were able to get to that roof and could clear it because they knew where to go. So. Next is flashlights. How useful do you feel that a flashlight is? Do you think?
Very.
Really?
Yes, I use mine. Especially since a lot of the places we went to, not a lot of the buildings have power. So it does get pretty dark. So they're super useful. Both as a blinding device, which if you have 1,000 lumen flashlight, don't shine in people's eyes. Don't be that guy. Yeah. Mine's 180 lumen. There's no reason to go over 180 to 200 lumen. Realistically, there isn't. You're not shining for deer. You're trying to light up a room. And you're trying to light up a room in the direction you're facing. 150, 180, 200 lumen. It's perfect. And you're not going to destroy someone's retinas when you come around the corner at them. You're going to ruin their night vision. That's it. So yeah, I think they're super useful.
Next is real sappy plates. Do you think anybody has a legitimate reason for carrying around heavy 60 pounds worth of bullet resistant sappy plates? And even then, they're not even bullet resistant because they're designed to break so that they absorb all the shock. And that's why.
Well, the Army composite ones, which I'm not a big fan of. Especially since the modern steel ones are not much heavier. Like those AR-680, kind of a tangent, those AR-680 plates, the new AR plates that are out, the bulletproof plates, those will take 5.56 ball, 5.56 armor piercing, and 7.62 ball ammo consecutively. And they still withstand. They don't shatter, they don't fall apart. They lose their integrity over time, obviously, but homie, if you're taking that many rounds, you should probably stop standing in the open.
Yeah. It's eventually your fault. You're getting shot at.
Yeah, eventually, it's going to get there. And they're coated in a rubber coat, very, very dense rubber coating, so that when you get hit, if you get hit, the splatter's not going to come up and hit your face, and your hands and your legs. It's going to get caught in the rubber coating. It also helps where if it does lose its integrity enough where it gets penetrated and you do get around, does go through and into your body, there's a rubber coating on the back of it as well. It's coated all the way around, and that will absorb more of the fragments. So it's just one piece, more like the big piece coming through, and at that point it's slowed down so much. It's probably not leaving the body. And it's slowed down so much, depending on what they're shooting you with, you're not even doing it. You're going to believe it's going to hurt. They're going to need to remove it, but you'll be fine. So, real plates and airsoft, good for you if you want to kill your shoulders. I just have foam inserts because it keeps my vest set up. When
Yeah.
when I take it off and set it down, it keeps it rigid. And it's just nice when it's on you because it keeps it from kind of sagging and kind of getting weird if there's nothing in there.
Yeah, no,
I was keep its form.
I was running my Rothko for quite a while with nothing in it, just regular vest, and the massive difference it is to actually put structure to your tack vest, where it just sits on your body a whole lot better if you put something in it. I use cardboard and electrical tape. I mean duct tape.
Mm-hmm.
Cheap. I mean, what did Tucker use? He used cutting boards or something like that.
Yeah, he used a few cutting boards and Men's Health magazines.
So yeah, it's better to leave the real ones at home. Really.
Yeah, I mean Hunter uses his real ones, and that's perfectly fine. He likes wearing them.
Yeah, I mean he actually has a purpose because
yes.
he uses them as training.
He uses them as a training
tool.
He doesn't use
actual physical fitness training tool. Yeah, because I mean anybody can wear a sappy blade, but he uses them to actually create endurance.
It's a training tool.
And even then, he probably needs to get some more because he
needs to start doubling up.
Yeah, he's already strong enough to wear them all day. And then, hey, are we doing airsoft tomorrow? He's already worn them all day.
Yeah,
that dude's a billiard brick.
Yeah, he is.
Now we're going to end this on an interesting note here. Real steel weapon control.
Yes.
Pertaining to airsoft. We talked about the 4 rules.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you feel that you can take from your experience? Because you, outside of your military training, you just have your own personal enjoyment of firearms. Mm-hmm. What do you know that you can translate from real steel firing over to airsoft? Weapon manipulation, maybe?
Everything other than releasing the bolt after an empty reload. I mean, everything carries over.
Yeah.
Everything. Your mag changes, how you hold the weapon when you do a mag change, how you hold the weapon, period, where you hold the weapon, and how you hold the weapon depending on your situation. If you're outdoors, go Chris Costa all day long. And with a super forward thumbs way up in the air, you're getting your hands singed by your flash hider forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's actually quite stable for long range shooting. I love watching YouTube videos of people clearing rooms with airsoft guns. And you see guys in real life doing it too.
The scorpion grip.
Yeah, they got their hand out doing the mag pull Chris Costa thing, and they're trying to come around corners and clear a room. Why? Keep everything as close together as possible. Everyone when you were a kid, you stuck your baseball bat out, and you tried spinning in circles really slow. As soon as you took that baseball bat in, you spun really fast. Why? Because before, a lot of weight was in front of you, and it takes a lot of effort to move that weight that's far away from you around.
Mm-hmm.
You tuck that weight in as close as possible. It's very easy to turn and move. Why do you think most personal defense weapons and CQB guns are so damn tiny? You want to keep all that weight as close to you as possible because it's very easy to just turn and come up on target. Whereas if you're coming around all, look at me, SEAL Team Door Gunner, they're gonna shoot you 15 times by the time you swing around to look at them. I mean, it's way too slow. So situational dependence will dictate the grip you use. Kneeling, different types of kneeling, sitting. I mean, there's so many different prone. Both laying on your stomach and laying on your back. I mean, they all have purposes. Standing and shooting, moving and shooting. They all, everything. And that's part of what I love about airsoft. It's a great way to practice all these techniques without actually burning through real ammo.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper.
Like all the lessons we've learned from Frank is like he outside of the whole, like you said, you don't load a mag and then you just hit the bolt release.
Gas guns are the exception.
Yeah, because they have a mechanical function.
The gas guns function very similar.
But every time he would teach us something, it was legitimately exactly. Maybe not. He would he'd shit on himself for being like, I'm a terrible teacher, but we learned a shit ton from that man.
He had a lot of real world experience.
And the way he was teaching it to us is probably how he would have taught it to any actual military person in that situation. And it's worked for us fantastic. Mm-hmm. We've applied it to every single milsim we've ever done, and we rock house. It's insane. Like, just legitimately, we've seen a complete change in our experience because first Milsim we ever did, Homeland.
Mm-hmm.
And then when NIMS was available, he started doing training days where he would show you how to do certain maneuvers, posturing, and target acquisition and prioritization of target acquisition. Whereas, depth perception because of how your eyes are functioning. Mm-hmm. So it'd be like, no, you need to go A, B. I know you want to shoot B because you think you want to shoot B. Don't. Mm-hmm. Trust me on this. And we would do it, and it would work. And then, and it's just airsoft. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
But two,
we miss you.
Yeah, like you said, I think that with the real steel, because I've also shot with you, real steel, I do see the value in taking those skills and applying them to airsoft. Relaying all the way back to the beginning, looking down your sights, and actually giving a damn. Just stop treating it like it's a toy. This does shoot a projectile. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hilarious. That's why that's why 8mm got banned. Mm-hmm. It's 8mm. You're 1 mil off of an actual physical round. 6mm BB is about the same dimension as a 22. Mm-hmm. The only reason that you can't harm someone like a 22 is because the plastic's not dense enough to actually be at the energy level to harm you. It would disintegrate on you before it could do penetration.
Unless you were running the ceramics, yes.
Yeah. See? So, and then finally, actual military tactics.
To a point. That does frustrate me sometimes because I will try to use actual tactics and sometimes end up not working just due to the fact that it's airsoft and not real life. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guns don't recoil. Yeah. You can pull the trigger as fast as you want. You can switch to full auto and dump all 300 rounds out of your hand.
You can feather the trigger with your middle finger.
And you're going to get the exact same group as if you were sitting on a bench. To a point. So there's no recoil and your grouping size doesn't change enough for switching it to full auto to be a hindrance. That's why full auto was removed in the Army for so long, is because using full auto is so inaccurate. Mm-hmm. You waste ammo unless you're about a foot away from the person. So that definitely changes things because everyone at that point is their own support gunner, especially considering everyone has 130 plus round magazines. Yeah. And everyone has about 6 or 7 of them. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of ammo. Yeah. It's a lot of ammo. It's 800 some rounds of BBs. Rounds of BBs. Same thing. It's 800 rounds of ammo. Yeah. So, I mean, why, you gotta really change how you approach situations. If you got 4 dudes with M4s at full auto and they're not afraid to use the full auto, you better get some pretty good suppressive fire on their location. Otherwise, they're just gonna mow you down because they have their own suppression. Where in the Army, you got 4 dudes with M4s, you got 4 dudes with semi-auto. Have 2 saws start strafing their position, set up a target reference point on both sides of the objective, have them start strafing and start traversing and searching. They're going to put their heads down because they can't compete with an LMG because they're semi-auto, maybe 3 rounders. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they're lucky, they picked up a full auto out of one of the new units. I mean, and they also only have 30 rounds. Airsoft, you got 130 rounds.
Huge dynamic.
It makes it a lot harder.
I mean, now with the way that guns are being built these days and the upgrades you can put into them, you're starting to get close to inches grouping, like 3-inch grouping. Yeah. And real steel, because the blowback, you have to train your body to be able to do that. Versus airsoft, like you said,
pull the trigger
no recoil, it'll hit the same target because there's no anticipation of the shot. There's no,
which is, and then back onto that actually goes back to the real steel weapon control. Actually, with the trigger. That is my biggest complaint with airsoft is you lose a lot of trigger discipline after playing airsoft without doing some real steel shooting because you get so used to not having to focus on your trigger squeeze. It's very hard to go back into real steel and do accurate, quick, consecutive, accurate fire. Yeah. Because you're so used to just pulling the trigger as fast as you could with no control. You go back into using real gun, you're just doing the same thing. You can't hit anything. especially handguns. So and that's just another aspect of why you can't take one for one military tactics and use them in airsoft. You do have to modify them a bit. The principles all remain the same, but the application has to be changed a little bit for it to really be effective.
And I think that being said, that'll be the end of this episode. We actually ended on a smart note for once.
Oh, thanks.
No, I mean, because half the other times it's just fucking...
Start bullshitting.
Yeah. So check us out on Facebook at Cerberus Tactical Airsoft. And let us know in the comments below if you have suggestions about what you feel is pointless in airsoft. I mean, we all have our complaints. Looking at this list, there's definitely scrutiny. There's definitely people who will say yes and no. We like to hear your opinion. So thanks for listening.